Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffery Combs.
Jeffery Combs, good afternoon. GMS Podcast, good to be here with you on a beautiful Tuesday, middle of July, July 14th, year of our Lord 2026. And my topic for you today is the psychology of belief. What is a belief? Belief is a feeling. Belief is a certainty. It's either a certainty or an uncertainty. So disbelief means not belief, where when you're in belief, you are certain. And it's that sense of certainty that will allow you to feel good enough. I'm going to go ahead and let the Facebook Live populate here, and then I'm going to move into the inspirational portion of today's Facebook Live on the psychology of belief, episode number 831, meaning that's the number of podcasts that I have hosted in my career on a breathe, release, and let go beautiful afternoon here. So as you are developing your beliefs, you are changing the way you've been changing. You are letting go of the trauma that you've experienced that the body continues to hold on to that creates fight or flight. The number one belief that's disempowering for most of the planet is most of the planet believes that they are not good enough. And it's that not good enough energy that most people hold on to, that they recreate the same situation to fulfill the same set of circumstances and recreate the same outcome that keeps them in that belief. And they believe this, and their communication style fosters it. This always happens to me. I can't believe this happens to me. And when you're in this belief, that's what you attract. You keep attracting to reality the same situation that fulfills the same circumstances and same outcomes. I just finished a 2-day event in Stockton, California. I spoke for 7 hours in those 2 days. Josh Waxman spoke for another hour and a half, and Robert Kempen spoke for another hour. And in my portion of that content, I covered denial, which is lying to yourself. I covered the psychology of change. I covered how to change a belief and how to change a belief in mid-moment. And then understanding the term the payoff, which means recreate a situation to fulfill a feeling. And when you're living this overwhelmed state of unconscious consciousness, you will attract your reality, the same situation, same set of circumstances, to fill the neurochemical craving that keeps you emotionally addicted to a set of feelings. And then that set of feelings that you say addicted to are anchored in anxiety, fear, and doubt, which will lead your procrastination and avoidance. Susan, much gratitude for you being on the call. I remember Blaze, and I also remember Zach, so thank you for pointing both of them out. If you remember, Susan, I coached Zach back in 2018, so if Zach is on today's Facebook Live, thank you for being here. If you're just plugging into me this afternoon, I'm covering the psychology of belief. And belief is either you're certain or you're uncertain. Those are your beliefs. And if you're holding on to these beliefs of not certain, that's doubt. And then doubt will keep you doubting yourself, which means you're not good enough. Then in the psychology of energy that you're transmuting, the transmutation of your energy will be a very low vibration. And you'll be transmuting at the bottom of the map of consciousness from guilt and shame, grief and apathy. That's the very bottom of this map of consciousness. The top of the map of consciousness is enlightenment. That's the very top. That's God. And then down below that is higher consciousness, and below that is anxiety, fear, and doubt, where most of the planet resides. This is where a lot of your prospects, some of your teammates, some of your customers and clients, they live in this doubt. And then in doubt, they just keep recreating the same situation to fulfill the same neurochemical craving that keeps them relapsing on a set of emotions or relapsing back into familiar addictions. Emotional sobriety is the anchor that allows you to believe you're good enough. It connects you to God. It allows you to separate your feelings from the facts and the events that allow you to be here and be present. The facts are you may have made many mistakes in your past, like me. I was a blackout drinker. I was a drug user, a drug dealer for 14 years. My mistakes, my transgressions, my rock bottoms led me to jail, hopelessness, suicide, and a series of beliefs that I was not good enough, to the point of I didn't believe I was good enough to live. That is the rock bottom of self-esteem. How do I change these beliefs? By one day at a time, by believing that you're good enough. and letting go of what other people are whispering in your ear, letting go of what society is telling you. If you are led to believe that you have ADD, ADHD, if you were led to believe that you're a poor student, that you're a slow learner, if you were led to believe that you have reading challenges and these other dystopian Rockefeller Foundation situations, and history books have been erased by the McGraw-Hill publishing industry. Like if you wanted, like right now, Andrew Jackson is one of the few presidents that ever took on the Rothschild banking cabal in the 1840s, and you cannot find that content. But for you, Susan, and you, Diane, I'm going to send you a video on the truth of that. So when you let go of denial, denial is where people live. They live in denial. They deny themselves of being their best self. I spent almost 2 hours on just the term denial, which is anchored in 12-step lore. And I was covering it from a higher consciousness level of what denial means. Denying yourself your best self, denying the truth, denying that you're sensitive and defensive, denying that you have character defects. If you don't access the truth in your belief system, and you continue to believe that it's not your fault, and then you continue to blame other people, that's narcissism. When you gaslight other people, when you continue to hold on to a set of beliefs that continue to lead you to believe you're not good enough, you'll continue to attract your reality, the same situation, to fulfill the neurochemical craving, which is called Hebb's Law. You'll continue to stay in these neurons that wire and fire that keep you in a state of not good enough, which is where most of the planet lives. It's not a how do I break through, it's an I am breaking through. It is a committed effort, which the word commit in your sentence structure, it is a committed process to changing a behavior. You change a behavior by isolating it. So if I'm sensitive and defensive, if I take it personal and you don't understand that that's you, or you don't admit that's you, and you blame your upline, your leaders, the industry, people outside of your own influence, if you're constantly passing the buck, blaming someone else, that's your own denial. When you bring it right down here and you break it down and you realize that I'm sensitive, I'm defensive, I'm angry, I'm a victim. When you can admit your character defects, you're changing your belief. When you continue to hold on to it, someone else, then you will continue to recreate the same situation. So your mouth moves and it says always, and it says, this always happens to me. These people always violate me. My uplines don't support me. My mentors suck. This is what people say, and this is how they communicate. It's up to you, Chief. YOU. It's up to you to break through. No one held my hand. No one gave me a handout. I never had a top-tier leader or mentor. I became the leader that people are looking for. I started to lead myself, then other people followed. I changed my beliefs about myself, people began to show up. And it wasn't overnight either. It happened over a gradual period of time. And it wasn't, I was addicted to instant gratification. That's why I sold drugs. That's why I was a thief. That's why I was a thug, because it was instant gratification. Because I wanted an RFN right now. Well, I realized that was not the road to prosperity. That was the road to deprivation. That was the road to rock bottom, and I landed there multiple times until I reached a place where the pleasure wasn't worth the pain. I couldn't do this anymore. And I was also addicted to being angry, being right, being in conflict, getting in fights. All this pride that the ego holds on to. Your ego is based on your pride. Your pride wants to be right. Your pride wants to make someone wrong. Your pride wants to find a better way. Your pride doesn't want to follow the system. Your pride is rebellion. And when you can let go of your rebellion and focus on being your best self, when you can create a system and a method that you can duplicate, when you let go of being complicated and start to practice simplicity, simple isn't boring, simple is productive. When you focus on production, being present, letting go of being overwhelmed, when you can focus on being able to attract people that you can collaborate with, when you can focus on actually understanding what focus means. Focus means you're able to eliminate the noise, put your energy into productive areas of your life, and you're able to master the moving parts, and you're able to be a finisher, not a starter. Your pride means you start and don't finish, because you'll mask not being good enough by using your pride to deflect your low self-esteem, your sensitivity, your defensiveness, and you live in that energy and just keep recreating the same situation over and over. And you'll find a way to blame other people rather than owning your own responsibilities. When you begin to own, when I own my feelings, then you know what the feelings are. When you're able to separate your feelings, that's letting go. When you're able to practice forgiveness and not hold your parents responsible, not hold society responsible, not hold your leadership responsible, when you're responsible, when you can respond to your own stimulus, you're stepping out of denial. When you're letting go of denial, you're in the truth. When you're in the truth has a very... truth has a consequence. So for you to understand the truth, you have to accept it. So for you to actually understand the truth of what's going on behind the veil, and you start to see who Peter Thiel is and Palantir is, when you start to understand who Sam Altman is, you start to understand who these billionaire technocrats are, who are actually leading protocol, and you understand who is in charge of who is in charge. When you understand that truth, that's a responsibility that only you can handle. And you have to make sure you can handle the truth. Once you can handle the truth, then you're out of denial. Once you're out of denial, you're going to change who and what you attract. You'll attract other people who seek the truth. And that means you'll attract people who believe what you believe. So when you believe you're not good enough, you'll attract people who believe that. You'll have people show up who will reinforce that. You'll have people who will edify you, and you'll have people who believe that they're not good enough like you, and then you'll have a very low vibrational team that produces very few results, so you can be disappointed. And this is what so many people do. They just keep recreating the same situation to fulfill the same set of circumstances. And I see it so much in families where people do not create the boundaries between their narcissistic family members. They stay in relationships with them. They continue to, they take pictures with them. They show up on Facebook with them, and they showcase this loving family, which is denial. Most people don't have the courage to understand and accept the truth of what the real situation is. They don't have the courage to establish boundaries of codependency, clearly define boundaries, and realize that this is the truth, I am not responsible for your feelings. You are. But when you feel responsible for other people's feelings, you'll tell yourself a story. I don't want to offend them. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to sabotage this relationship. I mean, how long should I stay in it? Well, you'll just stay in it forever if you don't understand the truth. You'll still just keep recreating the same situation because that's what you've been groomed to believe. So you've been triangulated by a series of narcissists. If you grew up if you're an adult child of alcoholic addicts that have narcissistic tendencies, they will just keep recreating the same situation and traumatizing you. When you stay in that trauma bond, that becomes your belief that you're not good enough, and you'll just keep recreating the same situation until one day the pain is great enough. And when you reach that threshold, that requires courage. So the 5 keys to separating a feeling from an event, the 5 keys to changing a belief, the 5 keys to changing in the present. Number 1 is honesty, which allows you to let go of denial. Number 2 is acceptance. You're able to accept where you are right here, right now, without any excuses. You're here, you're now, it's present, and I can accept it. Number 3 is willingness. For perhaps one of the first times in your life, you're willing to be teachable. You're willing to be humble. You're ready to let go of your pride. You're committed to being your best self. You will do whatever required of you without your mouth moving, without talking too much, without challenging someone else. You'll be in that level of acceptance and willingness that will allow you to understand whatever it takes. You understand what is required of you, and you start facilitating it. Number 4 is gratitude. That's humility. You're grateful enough to understand where you are, you can accept it, and you're grateful. So if you're $100,000 in credit card debt, you're grateful that you have the ability to pay it off. If you're challenged, if you're like me and you've lived in small apartments and you have beat up cars, I was grateful that I had a business that was one day going to allow me to transcend the very situation I was in. And then the 5th step after gratitude is forgiveness. You are making amends to people that you made mistakes with. You either do it personally or you write a letter or you make a phone call, whatever it is. You also forgive yourself for the things you've done to yourself, and you're letting go of the hurt, harm, blame, shame game that you've lived in so long that robs you of your dignity, your energy, and most importantly, your self-esteem. So when you begin to practice these 5 steps, when you begin to change the way you've been changing, when you begin to change your beliefs about yourself, you will begin to attract your reality, a much higher quality person to your circle of influence. And as you're able to attract that type of person, or that type of customer, or that client, or the person that you're going to mate, date, or marry, it is a very liberating experience. When you create the boundaries and you're letting go of people that no longer deserve to be in your energy or your influence, you are changing your beliefs. You are letting go of traditions. You're letting go of lore. You're letting go of wives' tales. You're letting go of being shamed. You're letting go of being triangulated by family members. You're letting go of the flying monkey syndrome, where people are sent out to knock you off course, because you learned that you are good enough. You're man enough. You're woman enough to be able to stand right here, right now in your own belief, and you are good enough. If you are seeking one-on-one coaching and you're a former client or existing client, I have multiple coaching packages for the present and future. If you'd like to speak to me one-on-one, I would be honored to do that. You can contact me right here on Facebook Messenger, or you can contact me on my cell phone at 209-649-1562. I want to say hello to Matt, Diane, Michael, Susan. Thank you for all the endorsements here this afternoon, and anyone else who's on here. Hunter, good to see you. Hunter, it was an absolute privilege to be able to share 2 days with you. Caleb, I look forward to seeing you in December. Thank all of you who are here this afternoon. And it is just awesome to be sharing space with you here. Breathe, release, and let go in a relaxed body.